I'd like to call to order this Thursday, June 15th, 2023 meeting of the Springfield Historical Commission. We have a minutes. Minutes. Let's get right to new public hearings. 49 Chestnut Street. Request removal of district exemption.
I don't know.
Good.
Just one moment. Director facility for the Springfield Museums.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. I was very a little distracted. Let me just do the roll call. This Commissioner Walsh, Commissioner Cole, Commissioner Farnham, Commissioner Walker Cole, and Commissioner Alvarez are all present. You're on. Good.
We're just looking to remove the exemption that was instated on the Museum of Fine Arts in 1972. So that we checked it as part of the quadrant in the Tune Street Historic District. So that the Springfield Community Preservation Association requires this type of historical protection, that exemption be removed.
So pretty quick cut. So I'd like to make a motion for the district exemption 49 Chestnut Street. Second, bit of discussion on that motion. Second. Okay, let me just open this for public comments. This is the request for removal of district exemption from 49 Chestnut Street. Is there anyone like to speak for or against this request? Vote for or no against? Close the public commentary. Motions on the floor to accept. And still no further discussion. Yes. Yes. Commissioner Brown. Yes. Commissioner Walter. Yes. Commissioner Alvarez. Yes. Ready? Remove the exemption.
Thank you.
So with this vote, it'll move it to the next step, which will then go before the Springfield City Council.
Right, send it to the city.
Yes.
Next one is 63 Chestnut. You know, say.
And 6.
So you got 63 too.
Yeah.
This one is pretty clear cut too, because they already presented. So I'm just gonna make a motion to accept the application. Exterior stucco at 63 Chestnut Street. Second.
It opens up to public comment.
Right. Just read over this. Because this one is subject to commentary like taking. I think they came in at time. Yeah. I don't think we have the public, but let's just do it to make sure. Application for certificate of appropriateness regarding the color of the stucco at 63 Chestnut Street. Again, I hope that there's anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this application. We have hearing none, close the public commentary. The motion that has been made and seconded to accept it. Any discussion on the motion? Can I ask what is the color? They did give us the color.
Yeah, the color is between brown.
Okay. They give the numbers. Good color. Anyway, anything else? You don't get the vote. Commissioner Cole? Yes. Commissioner Brown? Yes. Commissioner Walter Cole? Yes. Commissioner Alvarez? Yes. Commissioner Cole?
Thank you.
Okay. Next is 34 Tune Street.
I believe that's our contractor, and he's also covering 115 Thompson. He's having trouble parking. Those are regulations, so I think we can get those two together. That might work well.
Yeah, we can make a motion to take the Tune Street out of order. Second, a discussion on the motion. What do you want? You just want to piggyback it with exactly when 115 comes up. Okay, any discussion on that motion? No discussion, we just call the vote on that. Commissioner Farnham? Commissioner Walter Cole? Yes. Commissioner Snyder? Yes. Commissioner Wall? Yes. Commissioner Dufour?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move that to, and take the two together. Like, just move it to that.
We were hoping to do it the opposite way, but.
Well, so they're not. Oh, you were gonna ask us to move it up. We probably couldn't have under those circumstances, but it's easier for us to move it back. Okay. Okay, 92 Cornell Street, replacement of roof, slate asphalt. Name and address for the record, please.
Timothy Reynolds, 24 Woodland Road, Westfield, Mass.
Mhm.
I'm one of the owners of PM Properties. It's a receivership that we're doing.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
And look at the picture. It looks like part of the roof is already replaced.
I don't know. We're doing the whole thing. I think you're right at one time.
Let's just pull some of these up. And then this could be pictures. Oh, maybe not. That lower, in the black and white picture, that lower roof looked like it might have already been replaced. So is there no potential for saving a slate roof?
No, not cost.
Then you're replacing it with this
The architect machine.
color?
Really have no preference. Usually we just do it general as opposed to black, dark.
Someone did that. Gray.
Yeah,
But
well, it sounds good, dark gray.
Should have any questions for the petitioner? 92 Cornell Street. Question. So the existing slate will be removed, it will be saved, and use it to repair for other houses.
I guess we could try, but generally I think just dump it, whatever's easy, whatever's more economical. It's a receivership, so we have a duty to do most economical as possible. With parties involved.
Well, sometimes you can cost you.
If we can,
While you're taking
yeah.
it off and somebody else wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would fill up that slate for money.
Okay, yes, we can find someone. Yeah,
It might be worth the while.
we'll definitely investigate this. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? I'd like to open this up to public commentary. An application for certificate of hardship to replace the roof of 92 Cornell Street. From slate to architectural shading. Anyone here would like to speak for or against this application for the new roof?
I would, Harry Seymour, 68 Washington Road. I would like to speak in favor of it only because I think it's necessary at this point. But I would like to reinforce the idea of keeping the slate. There are a lot of people around who have slate roofs and who would like to know about this, but you have to advertise it. You have to get it out there on social media for people to know that it's available.
Anybody else for or against? Okay, hearing none, I'm closing public commentary. Entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of hardship at 92 Cornell Street. To install and arrange and change of slate to architectural shading. Second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Commissioner Charlie? No. Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Walter Cole, so. Yes. Commissioner Alnardi? Yes. Commissioner Walsh, yes. Commissioner Hughes Cole?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for your time.
41. All right, next is 144 Buckingham.
Zach Greenville, one of Trinity Solar, representing Linda and Ronald Wallace for their property. So Linda and Ron would like to install a rear-facing solar system on this home. I provided designs and photos of the property. The entire system is going to be rear-facing. The design is here if anyone's interested. Yes,
Yes, there. Put it up on a big screen.
there you go. A little bit easier.
Yeah. No, just fill us in on the rear facing, but
Yep.
any conduits, any,
The conduit run is likely going to come down the back of the home and into the basement, so it wouldn't be visible. The only element whatsoever that unfortunately is unavoidable is a safety requirement. There's going to need to be an AC/DC disconnect switch, exactly. So that would be next to where the meter is. Outside of it, I walked around the property numerous times. You're not really going to be able to see anything from the front of the street.
so. Can you back up?
Yeah.
Meters on the front left of the house.
This is one right, no, one more.
So this is the rear view, yep, right there. So you can see the meter right there.
So there's nothing coming from the roof, how are they coming to the disconnect, through the basement?
Yeah, they're gonna come through the basement. We'll route it over to where the meter is on this side. So basically bring the conduit down over here, bring it through the basement, and then obviously it will need to come out just for interconnection, but
Right, and it'll be above it, the meters, below it?
probably right adjacent to it.
Okay,
I think that's what we have in the model.
how big is that disconnect relative to the meters?
I can find a photo quickly. They're about the same size, more or less. If you give me 2 seconds, I can show you.
It's just the disconnect.
Just the disconnect. So this obviously isn't their property.
Yeah.
That's a meter, that's a disconnect.
Oh, okay.
Pretty minimal.
Okay, minimal visibility now. From this angle, you're looking at that.
Mhm.
We would not see any.
Not to the best of my looking at the model. Yeah, because if you look at it, the roof, if you scroll back up to the previous picture,
There, hold on, right here.
that's flipped upside down.
I know, but that's the back to the right.
Correct. So the 2 4 arrays are facing south away from the street. Those are going to be completely invisible. And the ones that are facing, I guess this would be east, looking at it upside down. Those are on roofs that are relatively high up off the ground. You're not going to be able to see them there either.
Okay. Minimally visible is our goal.
Yeah.
I do think they. Like that minimal visibility. Anything else you'd like to add?
Nothing else. It's going to save them some good money. So
All in the back?
Yeah.
Any questions from commissioners?
it's not going to cover all of their needs now. They're going to be getting, I don't remember the number off the top of my head, probably 60 to 70% of their needs. We would have loved to do more for them. Unfortunately, there just aren't a lot of mounting planes on a roof like this that are viable for solar to begin with. So.
Okay, any other questions from commissioners? Or like open this up for public commentary? It's an application for certificate of appropriateness of 144 Buckingham Street for a solar system to put on the back of the house. Does anyone here like to speak for or against this application? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public commentary. Entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness of 144 Buckingham for solar. Second. Any discussion on the motion? Right. Hearing none, Commissioner Walker, yes. Commissioner O'Leary, yes. Commissioner Nelson, yes. Commissioner Beautiful, yes. Commissioner Brown, yes.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for making the minimally.
That's the goal, right?
Okay, 218 Long Hill Street. You could give your name and address for the record, please.
218 Long Hill Street.
Can you? Just explain exactly what your goal is, what you're doing and what the goal is.
I'm having my house painted and redo the front porch. And the front porch is badly deteriorated, there's not a cracks in it.
Okay.
It is a trip hazard.
Your brother part, I just got to stop for a second, because this says removal of shutters, skim coat, cement porch and stairs.
Yes,
Okay, all right, sorry, go ahead.
yes, I just wanted to skim coat the front porch because there's a lot of holes in it. A lot of cracks, you know, at the bottom, it's a trip hazard.
Okay,
And also a lot of the shutters are badly deteriorated. Some are even missing.
Okay, what's your plan with removing deteriorated shutters? Are you have a plan to replace them?
No, I wanted this removal,
With no future plans to replace?
no,
Can't tell from the picture, are those original shutters?
No. Some of these,
Are they like real shutters or are they?
Typically, cutters weren't really,
Yeah,
part of the original design. We usually added, they add the,
no, right? No?
yeah.
but sometimes,
that's the
Yeah.
old one.
yeah,
Yeah. I think they're right.
I'd say they're original. In this case.
That's the.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Wow.
This one,
Let's do that next one.
They don't look like the same.
This is like, no,
That's the house next door.
No, so it's
you're not the same house.
Any other pictures? That's your house.
Yes.
Um. I mean. If they were added, they were like in the 30s, but before. What year was the house built? Any idea? It's okay. We'll find out. I mean, the reason I'm asking is if it was if shutters were there when, because of the original part of the house. I'm likely to consider that you should, you have to replace them now. I would ask you to, in the future, plan on replacing them, bring the house back with historically accurate exterior.
I got a few quotes and two contractors, they be really pricey to repair, to replace them.
Right, well, I understand it, that's why I'm just suggesting that. As opposed to removing them and never planning on replacing, just planning on over time replacing them. Or in order to restore the house. And our goal is to maintain the historic original is to be. If it, however, built, didn't have shutters when it originally built, it would be different. Commissioners, any questions, any suggestions? Questions? You're gonna skin coat and concrete stairs.
Yes, just go over it to just make it, because if I just repair just the holes, it's gonna look even worse.
So what they probably should consider is that. Where those cracks are.
Then you can see also one right above, you know.
They're probably gonna want to put in an epoxy cement in there first.
Mhm. Oh, yeah, they will do that.
Skin photo.
Right,
See it again. And my only other thoughts about the shutters, I agree, but nice if they could someday be put on. Even if you start putting them on one, I think.
Yeah.
Or, you know, solid shutters could be repaired or repainted. And put in the most visible places on the house. These shutters are pretty bad.
they're really right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm sure I can see what some of the climate control scheme. I mean, I'm looking at the front thing, at least.
The porch seems to be the,
But it works, maybe I'm having this front of the house, making sure the front of the house is. Yes, sorry. Or,
I think actually it becomes a lead issue, because you can see that, you can even see the gray lead paint coming through it, so now it's actually a health concern on the shutters.
so,
The amount of scraping,
yeah. Yeah, I can see
as
that.
much as I'd love to see them saved, you know.
Yeah.
You do have to kind of weigh that.
But do you think that it should be part, there should be a goal to replace it at some point?
With something similar,
Yeah. Even if it's not in the, it's every time, right? Yeah. We were talking about what we heard it. Right,
Yeah, do you have one place with a particular? They're really crazy. I'm a single mother, I'm raising kids, I went to like college. It's not something I can tell you I can do in the next 2 years. She just started college.
well, I think that the removal of damaged shutters should allow it to, especially if there's a potential issue there, we can't. We don't want it to just let that be deteriorating. But I also don't, I think that at some point. And I don't know what our options are here.
Replacement shutters aren't all that expensive. You can get mock shutters that are actually the real shutters.
Right, but is that look?
Like replacement like vinyl ones that are cheaper.
We would have to see it. And we will give you time to do this, because we're not gonna say, you said you had a couple of years, I was saying at least a couple of years.
Okay.
Or whatever. We understand the hardship part. Shutters are expensive when they're buying. But there are different qualities of buying them too. Some are really, really good at that distance. You might not be able to tell the difference between the wood. As long as you find one that very closely mimics the wood that's up, which is the key. To it, not just getting a, a big box shutter or vinyl shutter, which is won't mimic that at all. But yeah, part of me thinks that your goal should be at some point to replace these shutters as well. But the removal, I don't think we remove it because if they're damaged and with the potential of paint and everything else is going around there, we don't want that either. Any other questions? I'm not sure what do we have a shutter? Something we want for shutters, replacement, I think it's accepted replacement. Nothing. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Open this to public commentary. The application for certificate of appropriateness of 218 Longmeadow Street. Remove shutters, skin coats, and porch and stairs. Anyone here like to speak for or against this application? Hearing none, on close the public commentary. Entertainment, to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness. Before I do that, I'm not sure that the appropriateness becomes the correct.
I was agree with you.
I think this was more of a hardship, but if the hardship both is financial and time, that I think that I'll say the requirement, but the expectation that over a period of time, the shutters would be replaced. Would be appropriate. So if someone wants to make.
I think health would probably be a better reason than economics for the hardship. That's normally right.
Stuff, only need one, but we have two. So
You have to change the hardship.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to, maybe vote to change from appropriateness to hardship,
we don't generally find it appropriate to just remove shutters.
Okay.
Remove and replace would be under appropriate. And we're going to try and anyway, make a motion that you do that. I want to just ask her.
Oh, yeah, you can ask her.
That's okay. It's set.
So let's have her initial and date.
Aaron, you do what he's. Do what my friend Alan says to do. Initial and date. And okay, so now we're under hardship. Entertain a motion to accept the application for a hardship on 218 Longmeadow Street. Go ahead.
I'd like to move that we approve this application for the certificate of hardship for 218 Longhill Street to skin coat the porch stairs and removal of the existing shutters with the hope that new shutters be installed in the future, and at that point, if they are the shutters that he plans to install, we come to be reviewed by the commission.
All right. Is there any discussion on that motion? Okay, so the motion is that it be replaced with some kind of future time.
The motion is if they are to be replaced, it should come back and talk to us about the shirt.
Yeah, it would be, whether we did this or voted or not, you replace, you put the shutters on and just back on and show us and have the shutter version approved by us. Any other discussion on that motion? I can't, probably if you open up the public hearing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, which one am I at here? That was. Okay, no more discussion? All right, so Commissioner Nardi? Yes. Commissioner Walsh, yes. Commissioner Duke?
Yes.
Brian, yes. Yeah. Okay, you're okay to remove and the setback. Just hopefully you have somebody who knows how to do it.
I do.
All three. Thanks. Okay, please consider in the future that if this, that would intend to get shutters.
Okay.
Also, it's a big good one.
Okay.
Okay, you know that.
Thank you.
Okay, 78 Fur Glade then. All right, this is an application for certificate of appropriate install mini split air conditioner in 2 bedrooms. You can attach no proposed details. You can give your name to the other.
James Sherrod, 78 for my Fairly sure.
Okay. Okay, let's kind of explain while he's pulling this up, what the plan is. We'll take the.
Okay,
Okay.
we've got hot water heat,
Yeah.
so we can't dump the whole house for air conditioning. But we can, we think, put in mini splits in 2 of the back bedrooms.
Okay, so this is the back of the house.
This is the back of the house, and that's a guess of where the pipes might go. I was told by the contractor roughly, and that's kind of what I tried to draw.
Okay, that's good.
Any of the pipes can be on the sides or the front of the house?
Nothing on the sides, nothing in front.
There you
Steps, well, that one goes down on the right, and has got to connect to the compressor. You got a picture there with a cardboard box in the place where the compressor would be. It's,
Is that the one that had the circle around it? Yeah.
Which one?
Back there. Yeah. And they told me they could bring the pipe down in the, cut off the addition on the back of the house is 2 feet narrower than the main part of the house. And they said they can bring the pipe down on the little pieces of string that faces back rather than on the wall facing.
What is that in front of that box?
That's a propane tank.
Okay.
I was gonna say, it looks like a propane tank.
Yeah, well, now I can see.
That's why it looks like a propane tank.
Okay. Just read this. Nothing on three, nothing on 3 sides. The units located back the wall. And let's see, the turret lines are big, the lines are pretty rough. Painting, all lines will be painted up when after you put it right in there. The conduits they use will be able to be tinted to match the house.
They're gray, so they may not even have to be painted, but if they do need paint, they are painted.
Okay, but
Check
you
that.
generally have the conduits, even if it's almost out of sight, that would completely make it.
Well, we're getting the house painted this summer.
Okay.
It's just a rule of getting the conduits in before the house gets painted.
Okay, I understand. All right, any questions from commissioners? I'm gonna open the public commentary at 78 Bird Lane Ave, application for appropriateness install mini split air conditioner in 2 bedrooms.
If appropriate,
Hmm?
I know appropriate is the right choice, but I didn't have any other ones that seemed any better.
Well, appropriate is in this case, minimal visibility from the street. You know, that's which is the goal for everything. Anything you can't see from a public way, we don't control anyways. So if you can't see it from anywhere. People still come and make sure that we verify that you can't see it, but and then if something, you got a propane that shows it's gonna be, it takes up more space than the mini split.
Yeah.
Big space takes. So it actually sort of block the whole block part of it. So
Yes,
You know, the visibility is what we're after, minimize the visibility. But in a home like that, it's gonna be quite a change to have air conditioning like that upstairs. Or in the back of the house. But let me open commentary. Anybody like to speak for or against this application at 78 Third Lake Avenue? Seeing nobody, I close public commentary. Entertain a motion to accept the application for appropriateness at 78 Third Lake Avenue.
So move.
Second. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, we'll be back to the top. Commissioner Walter, yes. Commissioner Dunpro?
Yes.
Commissioner Brian Crown?
Yes.
Commissioner Walter Cruz?
Yes.
Commissioner Almeida? Yes. Okay. If something changes, only caveat, you don't know if it's proven. If all of a sudden you want to, it's gotta go on a wall to invisible. Gotta come back and tell them. And then, so we can review it before you do. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So so now we're gonna get back to 63 Chestnut and 115 Compton Street. No,
34.
34.
I mean 34 Mattoon, one of the. What did I just say? Yeah, guys, backwards. Mattoon and Compton. Okay, Mattoon and Compton.
Is Mattoon going first?
Mattoon's going first.
I'm Alex Gurvich.
Your address, Alex?
It's
Not the property.
my 543 Springfield Street in Chicopee.
This is an application for certificate of appropriateness, repair all existing window keystone, several window keystones. With charge the rear, separate the favorite side, keystone to be removed and install new concrete mortar. The rest of the keystones will be sealed. The new concrete mortar on the seams which site separation will occur. Existing grade mortar will not be changed in terms of repair. So there's really no change in material or
Nothing at all. It's going to look original.
now.
They could, again, I think Joyce wanted to err on the side.
Oh, and rightfully so. I'm just saying, this actually wants to be really not what you go like. But, you know, we can take it under appropriateness because at the very least, I think it's. So, I mean, commentary, there's no questions from commissioners. Anyone here would like to speak for or against this application for certificate of appropriateness of 34 Mattoon Street? Can you repair their keystone? Staying on, I close the public commentary. I entertain a motion to accept the application. Question.
You know, use mortar to match the mortar that's there.
Correct. Quick, we can finish more.
Well, I'm talking about the color.
Yeah, it's the same.
They almost never exactly match it, but you're gonna make it out there.
Yeah, it fades and changes color.
Okay. Any other questions? I'd entertain that motion to accept the application of 34 Mattoon Street. Second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Commissioner Boothroyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Brown? Yes. Commissioner Walter Kroll? Yes. Commissioner Alnardi?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore? Yes. That was an easy one. 115 Thompson Street, this is an application for certificate of appropriateness. Construction approved 115 is concerned the existing roof structure, it's soccer collapse, okay. Tell us what's going on.
Okay, so originally at 115 Thompson Street, the plan was to rebuild the foundation along with the lower half of the framing.
Yes.
To resupport what we thought was one section that had collapsed, but it turns out once we were removing plywood and the roofing there, due to the construction, the rafters there were no ledger boards, there was no support for anything. The front beam had a 1x8 carrying beam boxed in with 1-inch common board. So supporting all that weight, when the porch was built, there was literally, it's just a liability waiting to happen. So we unfortunately couldn't wait for the meeting. We had to demolish it because it was so unstable. It had separated at 2 points and essentially pinched, being held together with nothing more than old 3 to 4 inch nails.
Okay. So what are you putting it back together with?
We are putting it together with, the well, first of all, we're going to put new lunge boards up there and connect them into the existing, 2x4 framing.
Yeah.
And following that, it will be, following that, we're going to replace it with depending on how we frame it out, it will either be a double 2x10, 2x8 carrying beam, or a triple 2x10, 2x8 carrying beam.
I guess my question is, the structure, I'm pretty sure you're gonna do that correctly.
Okay,
But is it gonna look like the same material and the same look?
it will not change.
It won't change.
It's going to have Doug fir 1-inch common board. A majority of the materials, the old trim, everything milled from way back then can be restored.
Excellent.
So it's gonna look
So
identical.
there's no change, no change.
Correct. No, nothing at all.
The hard part of the word identical means different things.
Correct.
Contractors usually see it different than we.
Yeah,
But you're saying the potential to maintain and restore some of the old, molding version, what I want to hear.
correct.
So,
Yeah, along with some of the old, the railings, the balusters, the spindles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of materials we will be
And
reusing. Yeah.
how you build the structure of, trust me, that's stuff that you're gonna do correctly, how you finish it is what's.
Correct. Exactly.
It looks the same as it did before.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Okay, any questions from commissioners? No?
Oh, and, we are painting the house as well. I did. Same colors, same everything. Yeah.
Siding trim, the porches remain the same, and matches. Okay, all right. Let me open this up public commentary. Again, if does anyone like to speak for or against this application for certificate of appropriateness 115 Townsend Street, Springfield? Anybody for or against? Everybody's quiet tonight. It's okay.
I would like to say I'm for.
Well, I think you own it, so we already figured that.
I don't own it, it's my mother-in-law's house.
Oh,
This-
okay.
The work they're doing is incredible and it's going to be brought back to its former glory.
Perfect. That's a good 4 right there. I thought you were one of the owners, so I already did. But no, that's perfect.
No, it's been my nightmare, but it's.
You're seeing no others, I should close the public commentary. I'm just quick, hurry up. I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness at 115 Townsend Street for the changes in the, as described in the application. Okay, second. Is there any discussion on that motion? Seeing none. Okay, Commissioner Judith Cole.
Yes.
Commissioner Brian. Yes. Commissioner Walton. Yeah. Commissioner Allen. Yes. Commissioner Walsh. Yes. Hey, that's quick and easy, right?
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for doing
Thank you.
that kind of work.
Oh, it's not easy. I promise you that.
I know. Yeah, we know. That's
Yeah.
why we're thanking you.
All right, guys.
Why we're grateful, yeah.
Hey, thanks again.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Second here. Okay, 55 Embry. Yes. An application for certificate of appropriateness.
I have a sample of the window. I'm getting rolled
Just
over.
give your name and address for the record first.
David Bornstein,
Your address.
52 Republic Drive, I'm in 154 Bloomfield, Connecticut.
Yes. Okay, so anything you have, go get, bring it up.
Thank
Nope, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
We just won't start. Just bring it up and we're gonna display our commissioner come back if she could find that one with the record first.
Should I leave it on this card?
Okay, that's fine. As soon as Judith comes back in, we'll get going. Sure.
Yeah, it's like that.
Say. Okay. Okay, talk to us about what's going on.
3 items of business. I wanted to present the colors that we're using for the building. This is the main structure, will be the light gray. This will be the windows and trim. And this is the trim work along the top. I believe you have our renderings. You don't have a copy.
What are we looking for?
A rendering of what it's gonna look like.
Oh, really changed, huh?
Yeah, we're really good.
Wow, good. Oh, I see. Look at that old.
It's not too blue.
Oh, we love a good sun here. Okay, can you flip that for my tired eyes? Oh,
There we go.
That's better. Okay, interesting. All right, well, more, I mean, my main concern, any of my main discussion would be about the type of window, what it's. What it look like.
This is a scaled version of it. The windows that are going in are 8/8. This is obviously a smaller window. It would look like a tic-tac-toe board, but I made it like that. But they're going to be almost exact. They're going to be exactly like what the historical picture looked like. We're following the same design. The only ones that won't be 8x8s. There's, I think, 6 windows that are 2/2s existing. And we're just replacing them with what looks like 2/2s.
Is this window off of our approved windows list?
It's a match to the Quaker window. The Quaker, we were having trouble getting it. It's up to 8 to 12 months to get it. And we just can't get it.
Okay, now, as I'm looking at that, obviously these are all brick. How much of that frame is going to be actually used in the new installation?
This is just for cutting to fill in the gaps because they are curved at the top. So
Right.
this again, he is the installer. They'll be,
Right.
cut to the curve of the shape of the building.
Okay, and the side, the 2 inches or 3 inches on each side?
Yeah.
Just get your name for the record.
William Butler,
Go ahead.
this is gonna be adjusted slightly. This was a mock-up sample that we made to be able to give you, a decent representation. But the casing is gonna be, and the trim, this is gonna simulate the style of the brick stop, the window stop that there's now that you would typically put a storm window onto. This is gonna be the same size as the existing casing. We're gonna frame out the brick opening with 2x6 pressure treated and then some roughs on for the 7/8 to give us the proper dimension to fasten the window in there. These dimensions are gonna be virtually identical.
Right, but the windows that are gonna be 4 times bigger than that are gonna have the same size.
Yeah, they're 8 foot by almost 5 foot.
Yeah, they're 87,
they're
48 by
They're
87.
big windows. Just hang on. Can you find the best picture you can straight on of one of those windows?
I may have a picture on my phone if you want.
Yeah, whatever you got. We'll look at it.
I think what the commissioner is asking is the dimensions of the sash pieces and trim pieces
Will
will
match
all
up.
be the same as we're looking for.
Oh, yeah,
It's not gonna be sashed this way.
Oh, no,
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 they're
no,
going to
no.
be identical.
Right, but when I'm looking at these older windows, it looks like they've only got about this much on each side.
Correct.
You're like,
Will not
it's like
necessarily
you're
be
we
that.
can reduce the casing with the
it's
match what's there.
Like quite-
Yeah,
Because you have vinyl in the window, vinyl in that first part of the frame, and then another couple of inches of molding.
they do have that also. We've stripped them out for the hazardous material issue. We've taken all the wood off of them. They all had wood around it. It had
Yeah, that's the casing that's around the current windows from the brick to the actual glass is about 3.5 inches.
Okay, right, that's the question. You
Yeah.
just answered my question.
Yeah.
Are you able to make that 3.5 inches?
We can get very close,
Okay. That would,
reasonably close.
okay. Well, that's a reasonable.
and it will
answer.
follow the exact shape
Yeah,
of
right,
the old
well,
ones.
yeah.
So it comes like this.
I was
we
wondering how
can
you're
flip
gonna
out.
do that. I didn't know if you're just gonna put a separate
No.
piece.
Yeah, it's gonna all look completely solid. The ones on the fourth floor are square. They're not like the
Right, I did
first,
see
second,
that,
and
yeah.
third.
Now, can you find me a picture that has at least the best looking?
I have to verify the exact measure and I have some, sorry, what's
It's
it?
not like, it's not.
No,
While you're looking for that, I just want to look at this.
He's thinking that 4.5 inches.
From here to the glass.
This doesn't leave you too much room to clean that down.
Well, I mean,
See, this is a lot more gray.
Oh, this is-
Gray than what
this
that
is just example. This will be,
Not the color.
oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, just this one base. It's that much.
so you want to reduce the width of the casing?
Well, just looking at the windows that are there, anything to mimic them a little closer. That's why I was trying to find.
That's easy to do.
Yeah, so we're gonna we'll make the frame smaller and then just the top will be the part that's a
But the
little
top part, I'm
larger.
not worried about at all, because it fits.
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah,
We can do that.
Make a little template in a guide bit on a router and cut it to the exact size.
Well,
The window company wanted to show you that there can be a frame to fill the gap. That's
Yeah.
all it really is about.
and my concern is nothing straight on and no pictures where it's.
Let me look through my.
We look so good.
Now sensitive picture.
Well, we'll have that here in a sec.
You are.
Modern technology.
Let me see.
How long is zoom in right there? Those look like they've been replaced. Probably have sometime.
It's about, what was there is about a 2-inch, 1.5 to 2 inch.
That's what I'm getting at on the side, right?
We don't,
'Cause
this was
that's
just
gonna-
for the
that's gonna
mock-up.
like- I know, but that's gonna make it look like it's about 7 inches.
I hear you.
So I can reduce this side right here about 2 inches. I need enough room to get a 2x4 in there,
Yeah.
right? And I could probably reduce this by about 1.5 inches to be on the safe side
Okay,
and get that much closer.
yeah, that would be, I mean, if we're looking at it, that would certainly be more appropriate. But that looks like it's. I mean, you can't tell looking at the picture without going out there with a stretch, you can't figure out exactly what it is.
Get measured, take some measurements. When we do the final measure on the windows.
It's, that was just my concern, because that just makes the window look small and the vinyl look big.
The scale of this
To the size.
on a 7 foot by 4 foot window.
So there's so it has that other side molding in there. I see what they're doing. It's called a brick mold.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's an architect.
Mhm.
We can put a brick mold on this opposed to the flat casing. I just thought the flat casing was more traditional brick mold, you know?
Well. It was it all, I mean, brick mold sounds like it'd be cheaper for you.
It would, but I'm trying to not be cheaper. I'm trying to
I
do
gotcha.
the best job that we can.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd want it done correct. I mean,
Right.
brick mold,
Oh,
done.
I mean,
And we
I want it
wanted,
to look nice.
and we wanted to similar, also similar with the top of it
Yeah.
to all match.
Right, no, I'm. Just looking at like where the brick mold goes, the top part, you got that covered, the,
If anything,
You know,
opposed to a brick mold, I'd reduce the width of the flat casing and do a separate, like band molding, or you know what I mean, something on top of it, apply, push it to the brick to fill the gaps. You know,
just hashing it out here to get the best historic look, that's all.
I hear you.
Any,
that's what we're looking for as well, so we appreciate any input.
any commissioners have any?
It's about 2.5 inches.
Right.
In plan. It's a brick mold that's made because the brick had a lot of.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, so do it in 2 pieces.
Any questions, anybody have? Anybody? All right, if you don't have any questions, I'll open this up to public commentary. An application for certificate of appropriate is 50 Embury, in 6 Liberty. Anybody here like to speak for or against this application for window replacement? Incredibly quiet. Being none, I'll close the public commentary and ask questions. They don't look like that.
This is not an operable window, because there's not gonna be a screen in these.
Right.
And when it's painted, we put a liner on the inside of the jam to keep the same look and so they're not operable. It can be removed and taken apart, but not without tools.
Doesn't matter.
For safety reasons, we'd rather it not.
Yeah.
We don't know what I'm saying. They're not operable.
Yeah, those aren't operable.
No,
And if they were, they haven't been in a long time.
yeah, because people can leave them open, there's a lot of windows in this place.
This is a good idea.
Well, you think you're.
It's nice looking, right?
Remember, you gotta look at this, not try. That's the problem. We're looking at something.
The grids will, they will be an 8/8.
No, not that, but the grids look fatter too than they would have to be. They have to be exterior, so you got.
Yeah, they're simulated, no, I mean, this is that's a 5/8 grid. You're not gonna get.
I think it's, that's so up close and you, that, those are.
It is.
They're- they're-
5/8 grid there too.
Yeah.
You've been in no buildings in the street. Yeah.
Yeah, more often than not,
I
you have to go to
this
7/8.
is the Street, this is fitting right here.
This is
here and it's.
Back a little bit.
Keep going. Take the bus to Third Street.
But I mean, this is, not that it concerns this committee, but I mean, this is fully composite, will never rot, no insects, it's totally, preventable for insects, it's safe, it's secure, it's gonna hold this look, this paint 15 years.
Our only position is.
No, I understand.
Visual,
But you want it to look good for more than 6 months.
yeah, well, you. For us, it looks.
I don't want you to come back to me and say you're
Right, yeah,
falling
yeah.
apart in 6 months.
Yeah, we don't usually have that problem. All right, any other discussion or questions from commissioners for the gentleman? All right, I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness. 55 Henry Street, 6 Liberty Street. For the windows as presented, this is a model like 8/8 on all windows, panels except sill.
Yes.
The basement windows to be covered.
They've been, we've had several break-ins and they,
Those have been covered forever.
Yes.
We'll just leave that.
okay, thanks.
Leave that.
Yeah.
Just make sure. I actually wasn't necessarily, whoever makes the motion, to make it, okay, and make it straight, I don't. It's part of the discussion, it's part of the, well, let's discuss that, but I could see it either way, I'm just happens to be, that's the way it is there, and if it can be done reasonably that way, I think I would prefer the brick, but I really, I don't think I'd stop it, because.
We could reduce the width of the flat casing and apply another molding on top to simulate it. That would actually ease the installation because there'd be less trimming and fudging.
Interesting.
You can also just give it some accent all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, these are, you can see the windows set back a little bit from the top piece.
Yes.
This case, it'll be kind of an even.
I think like a PVC base cap that we apply after.
Yeah.
Something like that. Turn it on the side.
My architect's on board with this, is telling me how it's gonna be.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's like, then we could just have everything quarter and short and fill it and we don't have to worry about it. It gives us a nice pocket.
Well, somebody wanna make that motion?
I'll move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness as discussed. And at the meeting, at the public hearing, and that the 1 or 2 piece brick mold be no more than 2.5 inches wide. And set back from the face of the brick as discussed.
And just add that color to the.
The color will be the same, it's gonna be the same color as the other.
Thank you. Okay. Your second on that motion? Second. Okay, any discussion on that motion? Okay, hearing none. Where was I?
Just for clarification, so that's for windows and the color scheme that they're looking to implement.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. You said color. Okay, where was it? Okay, don't forget who I left. Commissioner Jude Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Brian McFarland. Yes. Commissioner Walter Cole. Yeah. Commissioner O'Leary. Yes. Commissioner Wong. Yes. Okay, I look forward to seeing it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's the process to get a window on your Google list.
It's a good question, bring it in. Yeah, that was actually not too bad. Part of the problem with windows is they have a big thick vinyl thing on the bottom of the window fits into. Or in a historic building, the window's gonna be very,
Yes, sir.
very close to the sill.
So the sill's right here, your window actually stops. This is intentionally made a little bit wider at the bottom, opposed, to the reading reel to simulate.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we have to, because in a building like that. It's different than putting something like that in a house, relative to the way a house window sits.
Sure.
But if you ever want to have one looked at, you can always
Sign up, make an appointment for when you're here.
just show us something like that under discussion, if you're welcome to come and show us something. And we could look at it relative to our guidelines. And then decide, we'd love to get a few more people who have. So we have known windows that are acceptable.
Well, that was
Mainly
great.
houses, so this is a little different.
That's great for the lead times. I mean, the lead times have been
Yeah.
awful trying to get windows. That's
No kidding,
been a nightmare.
but you're all set.
Thank you very much for.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let me move to, okay, 111 Dartmouth here.
So I received a call today.
That's the one, continue. Yeah,
Yes, from the property owner, he will not be able to make it tonight, so he's been notified that the next meeting will be July 6th, and so they're not going to continue.
okay, motion to continue to July 6th. So move. Second. Okay, any discussion on the motion on Dartmouth Terrace to continue? Hearing none. Commissioner McFarland. Yes. Commissioner Walter Cole. Yes. Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
Commissioner Wall. Yes. Commissioner Green.
Yes.
Can we decide that July, that week of July, we're gonna do?
Well, we'll decide that next week or so. for sure.
Kind of to do that, but
That means
I thought the last time we went around, everybody was gonna.
that's really.
We'll chat at the end of the meeting.
All right.
Just remind.
Okay, and 115 Garfield. Thank you for your patience. Go through all of these numbers. Your name and address for the record, please.
Wait till there, Yankton Street. That's
Your name.
Garvin.
This is Garfield. All right, so this is an application for certificate of hardship. Previous door, this is this relative to a stop work order. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, you just did, yeah, there, I just wanted to see what was. Oh, yeah, you got hit. Sorry. 150 Darfield, it says, my previous door was recently tampering with, looks like it was tampered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is living in a temporary place. Result of the accident, telling the hiring a person needed to sustain adjustments, Springfield, the door. Timetables which should occur in the next 2 months. Okay, that's. So you have a temporary door in there now,
Yeah.
so you're already secured. your
Yeah.
temporary door, and you're gonna take time, so what you're asking, maybe have some time to get your door put back together.
Yeah.
And it's reasonable time to have it repaired and reinstalled.
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna be easy.
Mhm.
How much time do you think you need?
Oh, well, what's the time frame? I mean, more time better for me.
Tell me a number.
3 months.
Will be okay?
Sure.
Okay. I think for, with the way traffic, usually people are going now.
Okay.
Again, if we find you can't do that, it's come to us.
Okay.
Tell us why. I'm open to giving you more time, but initially 4 months to me sounds. Because we heard, Gloria today about not being able to get, not being able to work and stuff. So I don't want to tie you up for too short a time, but so with my, 6. In 6? All right, no, you're suggesting, whoever makes the motion can set the time, because if you're just repairing the door, and installing it, that's bad. And if you find you can't, you just gotta come and tell us what else you want to do.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I would left the door. It's a pretty expensive door to replace. So
Yeah, but it's probably worth fixing.
yeah.
If you find, someone reasonably can't fix it, then you gotta try to find a door that will fit our criteria. Okay, anything else you'd like to add?
That's all.
This doesn't require a public hearing. It's on. Right,
Yeah, I mean, it's under hardship because.
right, but it should be just repaired.
It's only door. I mean, if you determine to be not applicable, then. That's up to you.
Yeah,
Under hardship, it would require a public hearing.
well, the hardship is that he put it, this is the time frame. But well, this is, you give me your opinion on this, I don't.
Well, if it's hardship, then you gotta follow it.
Well,
If it's not, then it's not.
and it's right, the reason we should vote is to give him time to repair existing door, which would have been not applicable. Except that there was a stop work order. Because of the door.
I think because of the stop work here. we should-
Yes, I just had suggested we don't have to have a public hearing. So let me just make it easier, and we'll have one anyway. There we go. Application for certificate of hardship. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak for or against this application? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Take a motion to accept the application for certificate of hardship for to repair and replace the original door on Fairfield Street. So move. Second. 4 months. Make the, yeah, oh yeah, gotta make, yeah, somebody's gotta add a time to
So,
that.
add to that my motion will include 4 months.
Well, he suggested. Alan suggested 6.
Okay.
So I'm moving, motion is 4
months.
That's okay with me. I'll fix it. We're giving you even more. So is there a second on that?
On the 6 months.
On the 6 months. Okay, is there any discussion on that motion?
Yeah.
Okay, hearing no discussion on the motion, we call the vote, Commissioner Walter Crowe. Yes. Commissioner Al McNary. Dominic Nardi. Commissioner Irish Al Nardi. Hey, Nardi, you think I was drinking, I haven't had a trace of anything, so maybe I should start. Al Nardi, let's just make.
He's here too, and yes.
Commissioner, that's wrong.
Yes.
Where's that from?
Oh, that's it, big crowd.
Commissioner Brian Farland. Yes. Well, I hope you people appreciate it. It's good for us to have a little humor here periodically. But it's interesting and I'm just gonna see if you can find some reason that might happen.
All right, thank you.
6 months, we won't bother you about it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Lucky for you. Sean. Have a good one.
It's been a long. It's all right. I've been called worse than that today. So, where are we next? We have, that's the main other matters. Other matters, non-applicability review, 125 Magnolia. But just tell us what's going on. I can't read that real quick.
I'm trying to remember the woman's name, Karen Lee, she,
Karen.
yeah, that PDF that just kept shrinking,
Yes.
that
Your
I,
name and address for record?
Todd Lemieux, 125 Magnolia Terrace.
Okay.
Yeah, my porch got damaged because of a leak in the porch roof, the roof was redone. And, I applied for a grant that, I think the first time I applied a couple years ago, I wasn't selected, but then I was selected this year. And they told me to appear, like, it took forever, this process to get the paperwork right, because I've never done this before. And so I'm here at the meeting, you guys tell me.
Okay, that's, well, not applicability means you really didn't have to come here.
Okay,
But sometimes they're borderline, so
okay.
we want a group to look at it and decide whether it's.
No, she told me I had to come.
Well, so they,
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
because he's receiving public funds from the.
Oh,
state.
they need us to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and she and some other folks, came out and evaluated everything, and if there's more money left over from the porch repair, which they think there would be, they identified several other things that could be done. And I know I'm in a historic district, and I don't plan on changing anything. Fortunately, it's repair stuff. It's not so much aesthetic. The one thing on the porch that's aesthetic is it was a piece of trim, which I think could be milled if we can't replace it.
Well, this just says no change in design of material,
Nope, not at all.
which is.
It's mostly the floor of the porch that.
Yeah, yeah, if you get it in funds, they'll do it as if they do this, but just in a general state, if you replacing, there's no change in.
No change.
Run it by, we just
Yeah,
do it as non-applicable.
no, I love my house.
And I'm glad you're getting some help.
Yeah, well, she said it's pending this meeting, so I'm not counting on it yet.
Yeah, well, the scope of work and materials used, it's all,
And to your comment about contractors, wish me luck.
so I would motion. Yeah.
Make a motion to accept the application.
Second. Discussion. Really, let me go back to, let me get correct this right. Commissioner Nardi.
Yes.
Commissioner McDonald. Commissioner Judith Cole.
Yes.
Commissioner Brian Farr.
Yes.
And Commissioner Bolt.
Yes.
Yeah, that's okay under non-applicability.
You too.
Tomorrow is Friday.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have 1127 Worthington Street.
You're gonna replace the storm window.
Yeah.
My name is Aaron Murray, 176 Draper Street, Springfield. White Crane Builders representing Ron Carl.
Yeah, I don't feel like.
We have received an email. So.
Okay. We're good. We just have to make sure you can speak that time. That's all. Great. Good. Alan says you can. Okay, so tell us what's happening.
Really, really straightforward. We're going to replace the storm windows.
That's it.
That's it.
Make a motion. Make a motion to accept the application for 1127 Worthington Street as presented.
Second. Any discussion on the motion? Commissioner Judith Cole.
Yes.
Commissioner Brian McFarland.
Yes.
Commissioner Walter Cole.
Yes.
Commissioner Allen.
Yes.
That easy.
Like Band-Aid.
Thank you
very
very much. Construction. 1321 White Street in Bethel Church, replacement of rail and mason. Join us. And this is just about, there's nothing else for us. So, yeah, you got all. Pay no attention to that man.
So he's seeking a letter of support for the project. So she received a determination for the structure at the previous meeting. Yep. She's now just looking to get a letter of support to go present to the Community Preservation Committee for the project.
Okay, so this is for a letter. Okay, then. Windows be replaced. Okay, what are the?
So there were some questions at the previous meeting that you guys were looking for a little bit more information.
Everybody else, I can't even speak English today, so please try to. The application consists of various aspects of exterior repair, what you need for the commission windows. Are any windows being replaced?
So the road show one's gonna Cambridge Road. There's gonna be 23 windows. And from my understanding, just gonna be restored. There's one window that's broken, like the glass, that's gonna be replaced. But the rest are gonna be restored.
The glass can't be replaced. I said the glass can't be replaced.
It can. I believe.
You mean
they're-
just the glass would be replaced.
Right.
So you made it sound like the broken glass would be replaced with.
Oh, no.
Okay, so that's
You're just restoring the windows that are already there.
Yes,
Yeah, no, all windows being repaired, no change in design or material. The real, your application indicating you're proposing fabricated ornamental railing. We'd like some specifications on the railing and renderings of photos. We have,
yes, so it's gonna look like that, but without the middle railing. So the two railings on the side, that's what we're trying to go for. Something similar to what we have, but a little sturdier, so.
okay, what's there now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little-
Pretty similar. I was gonna say, I
It's an
think the
improvement,
one-
yeah, an improvement, yeah. Okay. And then what else? Is that what you got in? That was just those two things? Well, those are. Okay, and there is okay. Yeah, you know, that's all, is that all it is? Is that those ones?
Okay.
Okay. Any questions from the commissioner? What's the status of this? We already have a vote on this. Or are we waiting for this to vote?
The only vote that you gave was for the determination of historic. elements. So, yeah, so now it's just again, if you guys are in favor of the project.
That's what I need.
I'll have them do a letters, well, I'll give them a draft that they can sort of template for them to do a letter supporting them. We review it, then we'll have to sign.
Okay, so this is just for a letter of support.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're voting on the right thing. Okay. Anybody motion, will make a motion? I'd like to move that we do fashion the letter of support. Okay, any discussion on that? For the 1321 Dwight Street, we have a church hearing none. Just great. Hey, Commissioner Duke.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Commissioner Warren.
Yes.
Commissioner Al Nutter.
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh, yes. Yeah, we will issue another.
I thank you so much.
Thank you for your patience.
Oh,
Sitting through all that.
thank you.
She didn't even have to be told. The president, she did that before she responded, she just came right out. Okay, now the discussion, new construction guideline updates. Who wants to update? Anybody?
Okay, we had our meeting, we combined the two different committee findings together, we came up with a kind of beta version of our form that we're going to use, and we identified the identifying factors to determine the historical character of the area and the structure that would be built. It was kind of acknowledged, though, that we've been focusing mostly on homes. So maybe we should broaden our scope a little to think about other buildings as well. However, I predominantly homes, because that is most of what we do.
So I'm glad you did something, because I forgot about that last hour. Like an update. No, we covered a lot of ground. Very good. And we have, it's almost in order. It's almost there, styles and things, and the whole list of things they have to answer.
Yep.
Relative to what we covered, we covered a lot.
We put kind of everything together.
We gotta put it in one place. I don't know if we have anybody to do that for us. Put it in one place.
Yeah.
Not yet.
At some point.
Not yet. Just looking for some intelligent answer.
Can I get a copy of Emma's scribble? I'll put a form together.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking, because there's so many.
Talking about all the material,
all the
stuff we gave you list of.
Start almost in order. It's really close.
She wrote it all down, so there are notes.
Yes.
Of what we were incorporating and what we were
I'm
adding.
gonna have to kidnap her or something.
Because that's what's really the next best step, is to get a rough draft of
Right.
kind of all the mishmash
It's kind of.
and put it together, get the applications
Stuck
together.
together. Her taking it.
But there were some items that we had either legal questions about or process about,
Right.
like being on site.
right, like inspections, when they did new construction. Because my suggestion was we buddy it up with whatever building departments does, she was gonna check and see if that's possible. So there were still some question marks on our suggestion as far as city process, what we could do.
Yeah.
We couldn't do, and so there were some questions.
Well, you suppose it let one or two of us meet with her while she's working her other job to summarize, to see if we can get a summary from her.
We'll see if we can set that.
Or at least get notes.
Well, I'm sure she'll give us all the notes. I'm not worried about that. Just, you know, she can, we could easily get some notes.
I'll shoot her an email. So
Do we need a subcommittee for the commercial building?
No, I think, I would rather, while that happen, we have to do it. That'll be an easier thing if we get this other thing in order.
Yeah.
Then all we have to do is look at it and say, commercial does what?
But I don't think there's anything that would stop any one of us to prepare something. Or chess player, grand national. To just put something together. No, I agree. Right, and then when it comes up, we can just, here you go, here are my suggestions.
Okay, all right, well, that's what we're gonna do for now. And, are you speaking publicly up today?
No, I don't think so.
You're okay, taking a day off?
A question about the new construction guidelines, that's a general question is, do you deal with the quality of materials as well as the design of the materials? Because you know, I vacation sometimes on Cape Cod. And there's a new home that we've been renting, and I don't think there's one part of that home that could last 100 years. Not one part, it's brand new, right? So, you know, I think there's that aspect of it, you know, how do you replicate the quality? I mean, in today's environment, it'd be very difficult to build one of these historic homes, you know, for less than $1 million, you know?
The hard part is, we're trying to have them mimic properties or homes already nearby, but the material, some of it's gonna be wood, some of it's not.
Yeah.
So, I don't, there's certainly some cheaply made. You could answer it a little bit with some request of mock-up of details, right? But, you know, when we look at that application, or some, maybe there would be something we can word, but we gotta see what it says already. I think it might already cover that. Are you still? Definitely, food for thought, absolutely. Thank you. I guess you did want to speak out.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
So I wondered, as you were saying that everybody was so quiet, do you want people to chime in from the audience? Because I can do more of
Only if
that.
they're, I really only want people to respond if they're prepared relative to a very specific application. I want people to be comfortable and know that we want them to speak for or against. You know, because sometimes you can see people are, not today, but they're a little uneasy, they're not sure.
Yeah.
Because they're against something. I don't care if they're for or against. I want them to know that when they're here, they are welcome to speak for or against. How else will we know?
Yeah.
How else can we derive a reasonable solution or opinion on the before we vote?
Yeah. Well, another dimension on this, just my last comment, another dimension is the impact that it has on the people going through the process. Even if they come here and they go through the process and there's no change, everything gets approved. I feel there's been an impact. I feel that people now are paying more attention to what they're doing than they would have before.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's go ahead.
Can I speak up to the speaker?
Absolutely.
So my question to the audience is, can you actually hear us and understand what we're saying, or is it all mumbo jumbo out there?
Well, that's a very good question, and my answer is yes and no. Some of you speak quite some of you speak quite loudly enough for the audience to hear, okay? And you know what you're talking about, so the it's a more confident kind of presentation. Most of the time, you cannot hear anything that the person sitting at the head of the table is saying. They're facing the wrong way, and they're nervous and they're mumbling. You know,
We sometimes ask them to speak up, but not usually, as long as they're getting picked up. because they have to. I don't know where the microphone is, but.
Yeah. That.
Oh, right here,
That's this guy.
that right there, so.
They can't hear.
No, I understand, right, and we can't have them like face that way because they be microphones over here. I don't know, that's also not a bad comment, we'll have to think about. whether there's any other-
there probably is a technological solution for it.
I'm sure there is. It's whether it exists in City Hall or not is a whole different problem.
But they have it in the other rooms where you have a microphone at the podium. But I don't know.
Where does-
I don't know if we can get something like that out there.
And what speakers have they used? You know, I noticed that at that subcommittee meeting. That's what you're asking about. Okay. Good stuff.
All right,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we
Thank
close,
you.
I just had a
thank you for your work.
maybe it's more curiosity, so I remember. 3-family on Pine Street, they come to us about redoing the whole house.
Yeah, I saw it.
It was all completely tore apart, they got framings, open.
Yeah, I noticed today on the way up.
It's so,
So
But-
there's Central Street,
Yeah.
yeah. It's on Mill, it's at the corner of Mill and Central.
Okay.
I think the address is.
Right, thank you. It didn't look like it was the plan that I saw, but I'm thinking, okay, what are they doing with it?
No, that's my question is like, part of my thing with the. Changes is when we build something, there's the follow-up piece.
Right.
Now I'm driving by it, I was here, but I don't remember what the heck they said they were doing, so I'm looking at it and I go, wow, that's all the way
What
down.
number, did any recollection on what that was on Pine?
no, I'll have to look at it. I'll,
This is
do it
going on
outside.
the corner of Central.
I'll check on
I
file.
couldn't believe it, I'm driving. Holy crap.
I just remember it was gonna be a complete
I think this is the one who wanted. to
redo,
move
the ones that
They
do
wanted-
vinyl signing and all this other stuff. I just wanted to like check, is there a way we can pull
Hit the-
what the approval was?
Good.
And look at what he's doing now, just to make sure there isn't like,
For like the topo. Right.
No, just the original.
yeah, no, but yeah, we're the historic commission police.
Yeah, I saw it today, it looks awful, so I wouldn't mind getting an update.
I don't know,
We gotta
Well,
look.
I'll take a drive by tomorrow morning.
but it's,
See what-
it's such a dramatic change, it really makes me think of,
It doesn't even.
I wanna pull what we approved with this guy.
Right, it's
If he-
Look on it right now. It doesn't even fit
Mhm.
with the area.
Is there a commission of jackets?
Well, I like the badge, let's go off, with the wall,
To adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Hey, boy, I'm talking about- We're everyone names. Hold on, everyone names.